Example number 3 we have seen last class. 4 also we discussed. The next we will see in your textbook composite magnetic circuit. It is there, but it is not there in your syllabus. So textbook means what? Some extra topics will be available. You should not refer that extra topics and all. What are the topics are there in your syllabus alone? You have to refer in your textbook. Then some if it is not there in your syllabus. So example number 5. Next to example number 5. This is also a very important problem in exam point of view. Already I told you, mu problem is very important. Finding the value of relative permeability, mu. So other than that, this example 5 also important. All of you go through the problem. Yeah, iron rod of 1 centimeter radius is bent to a ring of mean diameter 30 centimeter and wound with 250 tons of wire. Assume the relative permeability of iron as 800. An air gap of 0.1 centimeter is cut across the bent ring. Calculate the current required to produce a useful flux of 20,000 lines if leakage is neglected and the leakage factor is 1.1. So first you write the given data R is equal to 1 centimeter. 1 centimeter radius, so R is 1 centimeter. Centimeter is bent to a ring of mean diameter. So dm is convert that into meter, so 0.3 meter. Wound with 250 tons of wire, so n is equal to 250. Then assume the relative permeability of iron, so mu r is 800. Then air gap length that is given, that is 0.1 centimeter, convert that into meter, so 0.001 meter. Then flux is what? 20,000. So they have given the magnetic flux lines only. You know that 1 Weber is equal to 10 power 8 magnetic flux lines. So 20,000 lines, that is equal to 0.2 milliweber. Are you getting? Already while I am explaining about the flux 5, 1 Weber is equal to 10 power 8 magnetic flux lines. So 20,000 flux lines equal to 0.2 milliweber. So there are two cases. The first case is leakage is neglected. Then the second case is leakage factor is 1.1. So first we take the first case. Leakage is neglected. Then area of cross section, that is what? Pi r square, pi into r square, pi r square. So r is what? 1 centimeter. 1 into 10 power minus 2 whole square. 1 r is equal to a is equal to pi r square. R is equal to 1 into 10 power minus 2. So pi r square means what? Pi into 1 into 10 power minus 2 whole square is 10 power minus 4. So area of cross section is what? 0.00314 meters square. Then reluctance of air gap. So we know the length of the air gap, it is given in the problem. Lg is 0.001. S is equal to L by mu A. So air gap, mu R value is 1. So Lg by A into mu naught. Lg given. A just now we have calculated. Mu naught, that is constant, 4 pi into 10 power minus 7. That is equal to 2.5327 into 10 power 6. Then unit for the reluctance is ampere turns per Weber. Then required MMF. MMF is equal to what? We know the expression for the phi. Phi is equal to MMF divided by S. From the expression, MMF is equal to phi into S. Phi it is given in the problem, 0.2 milliweber, so 10 power minus 2 into MMF is S is equal to phi is equal to MMF Phi is equal to mmf divided by s. So mmf is equal to phi s. That expression they have used, phi s. Phi s, mmf is equal to what? Yeah, phi into s. Just now we have calculated the s value, substitute. The length of ion path. Length of ion path is what? Pi d minus length of air gap will give the length of ion path. That is, it's a circular. So circumference is pi d. So pi into d is what? 0.3 minus length of the air gap. Length of the air gap given. So the entire length minus the length of the air gap will give the length of the ion. So the length of the ion path is 0.9415 meter. This is the length of the ion path. Next, reluctance of ion path. L divided by length of the ion path divided by A into mu, where mu is equal to mu naught into mu r. Length of the ion path just now we have calculated. So substitute the value, will be getting reluctance of ion path is equal to 2.9807 into 10 power 6 ampere turns per meter. Next, required ion path mmf. mmf is equal to 5 into s. 5 into s you have calculated. This one. So the total mmf is what? Total mmf is that is mmf required for air gap plus mmf required for ion path. So add the two values. This one. Current is equal to what? mmf is equal to Ni. From that, I is equal to mmf by n. So mmf is this value, just we have calculated, divided by number of turns, 250, that is equal to 4.4107 ampere. Next, this is without a leakage flux. Next, we have the second case, leakage factor 1.1. As in this case, required air gap mmf 0.002 into 2.5327. That is equal to, from the this one they are taking, this one, required mmf, air gap mmf. mmf is equal to 5 into s, 506.54. This one, the same step. Right. So to maintain useful flux of 0.2 milliweber in the air gap, the flux required in the ion path is leakage factor 1.1 into 0.2 useful flux, leakage flux, that coefficient and coefficient into useful flux will give the flux required in the ion path. So useful flux. So that is 0.22 milliweber is the useful flux. Useful flux. Required ion path mmf is equal to 5s. Yes, you know, we have calculated here. What about s value? 2.98. 2.98. This only. This value. This one. We no need to calculate again, just use substitute. That's all. right? This is what? This is 10 power 6, so 10 power 6. Then you add the two fluxes, air gap plus ion path. You will be getting then mmf is equal to Ni. I is equal to mmf by N. Next, hysteresis flux. All of you go through the slide. Go through the slide, then I will explain. See, there are two losses in the magnetic circuit. One is hysteresis loss, another one is eddy current loss. First, we will discuss about the hysteresis loss. My voice is clear? Hello?
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
This is second diagram. Figure 7 is the hysteresis loop. First diagram, it is used to get this BH curve. So figure number 7, it is drawn between B, flux density, and H, magnetic field intensity. So another name for this figure 7 is hysteresis loop and BH curve. Both are same, right? So the BH curve means what? It is drawn between the parameters, that is B and H. So another name for the figure 7 is BH curve or hysteresis loop. Both are same meaning only. So now we will see one by one. So this is electromagnet. There is one coil. When you give the supply to the coil alone, it will behave like a magnet and it will produce the flux lines in the air gap. Then this is connected with the switch, and also it is connected with the variable rheostat. So why they are connecting this variable rheostat is you can vary the input current by adjusting this rheostat. Then and there is one switch. First one is what? Electromagnet, which is connected with one DC supply, one switch, one variable resistor. The variable resistor role is to vary the current flowing through the coil. So this curve is drawn between B and H, flux density and magnetic field intensity. So when you close the switch means there will be the current flow in the coil. So by the time it will act as a magnet and it will produce as the flux line. When you switch off the switch in the figure 6, then switch off means what? Open circuit, no current flow. No current flow. It will not produce any flux lines around it. So this BH curve you are seeing means magnetic field intensity I am increasing. So it reaches the maximum value. That value is represented by H max. Then they are making H to 0. H. After it reaching the H max, they need to increase the H value. So they made H is equal to 0. But the curve OM does not follow the path of MO. Instead, it is following the path of MN. So it reaches the y-axis. It reaches the y-axis. So it does not follow the OM path. It possesses some magnetic property. That is the reason it does not follow the MO path, and it meets the P graph, that is B line, and it reaches the N point. Initially, it is following the way of OM. So they made H0. So it is following the path of MN. So why this is following MN path is, so it possesses some magnetic properties because of the supply which is given to the coil. So this electromagnet possesses some magnetic property. So that is the reason it does not follow the MO path. It is following the path of MN. Next. So then again what they are doing? They are increasing the value of H. Then it reaches, they are increasing the value of B. Then it reaches the x-axis at the point of P, H is equal to 0. Consider an iron bar which can be magnetized as shown in figure 6. Magnetizing force H can be varied by controlling the current through the coil. Corresponding values of flux density B can be noted. So they are plotting the graph between B and H. First BH curve will follow OM. OM shown if figure 7. Now H is decreased gradually. B will not decrease along OM. Shown if OM show if figure 7 now if H is decreased, B will not decrease along MO. Instead, it will reach along MN. Even H is 0, B has a definite value of on. This implies that even on removing the magnetizing force H, they are removing the magnetizing force H here. Where? Which place? This place. See, what about this? They are making B0. They are making which 0? They are making, okay. They are making B0. But it is ON is present. Again, what they are doing? They are increasing the H value. Then B0. Here H is 0. X-axis H is 0. Then what happened? What happened? H is 0, but it remains. OP remains. Then again they are increasing the H value. It reaches the H maximum. Right? So then after that I am increasing the B value, means it reaches the B. Then it reaches this point. So this entire curve OMNPQRS is called as a hysteresis loop. This implies that even on removing the magnetizing force H, the iron bar is not getting damaged completely. The value of ON. Measure the retentivity of the material. ON is what? The value of ON measures the retentivity of the material. This is what? Retentivity of the material. This is what? Figure 8 is hysteresis loop for cast steel. So the cast steel means what? Hysteresis loop area will be more. Then second diagram is for alloyed steel. So the area is less. So area is more means loss will be more. Area less means loss will be less. To demagnetize the iron bar, the magnetizing force has to be applied in the reverse direction. Flux density B becomes 0 at P. This is P. The value of H is measured by OP. OP is known as coercive force. OP is what? Coercive force. If H is further increased, the curve will follow the path of PQ. By taking H back from H max, a similar curve QRSM is obtained. It is seen that B always lags behind H. Always flux density behind the magnetic field intensity H. Always B lags behind H. This lagging character of B with respect to H is called hysteresis, and the complete loop is called as hysteresis loop. Different magnetic material will have different hysteresis loop. Figure 8 shows the hysteresis loop of cast steel and alloy steel. So if the area, this is the final conclusion, all of you make a note. They may ask in the 1 mark question. If the area means what? Hysteresis loop area. If the hysteresis loop area is more means loss will be more. If the area is less means that is hysteresis loss will be less. So all of you look at the figure. So the figure 1, that is for cast steel. Then second one is for alloy steel. So the area of cross section of the hysteresis lobe is more. So the loss in the cast steel is more than the alloy steel. So the hysteresis loop area more means hysteresis loss will be more. If it is less means the hysteresis loss will be less. Area of hysteresis loop gives hysteresis loss per unit volume of the material. About 4% addition of silicon to steel give rise to reduction in hysteresis loop area and hence hysteresis loss. So the loss is more means we can conclude that the loop area will be more. So how can we reduce the hysteresis losses? By choosing the material which is having the high relative permeability. So we can reduce the hysteresis loss by choosing the material which is having the high μr value relative permeability. So the μr value is more for any material means then that material will be having lesser amount of hysteresis loss. Second one, eddy current loss. Next one is eddy current loss. Go through the slide. Next, eddy current loss. So we have seen the hysteresis loss, right? So the hysteresis loss will be reduced in the magnetic material by choosing the material which is having the high relative permeability. Next one is the eddy current loss. So whenever a conducting material cuts the magnetic flux, an EMF is induced in the core. This EMF sets up large current through the solid mass. Such current is known as eddy current flow. Eddy current. Flow of eddy current results in eddy current loss. Eddy current loss is proportional to square of thickness of the material. So thickness is more means eddy current loss will be more. Thickness more means eddy current loss more. So how can you reduce the eddy current loss? Laminated core, by using a laminated core which offers high resistance for flow of eddy current. So lamination means what? The single solid one core will be split into smaller areas. That is called as a lamination. So that is then we have to split the small areas and we have to put it together. Then only you will get the laminated core. The loss can be minimized by using a laminated core which offers high resistance for the flow of AD current. Then next, this is very important topic. All of you go through this slide. Faraday's law, electromagnetic induction. So this is what static induced EMF. What are there is the ring type core. Two coils are present. AB. B coil is connected to the galvanometer. So when you switch on the switch on and off the K switch means you will be getting the deflection in the galvanometer. That means there is an induced EMF in the B coil. Because of that only, you will be getting deflection in the galvanometer. So the A coil is connected to ammeter, variable rheostat, supply, then switch K. When the switch K is closed from open position, there will be induced voltage. So these are all the main parts for the static induced EMF. There are two types of induced EMF, statically induced EMF and dynamically induced EMF. First we will discuss about static induced EMF. Go through the slide. So variable resistor is used to vary the current flowing through the A coil. Ammeter is used to measure the current flowing through the A coil. K is used to open and close the circuit. So when there is a deflection is, so when you give the supply to the first coil, it will produce the flux lines, right? So this flux lines also making link with the B coil. When a current flows in a conductor, magnetic field is produced. The reverse phenomena whereby electromotive force EMF and hence current is produced in electric circuit by some action of magnetic field. This is called electromagnetic induction. When switch K is closed from the open position, there will be induced voltage and hence current in coil B has this is used to measure the current flow which is flowing through A. This is used to vary the current which is flowing through A. So when the induced EMF is produced in the A coil means which is making the changes in the B coil. So the flux produced by the A coil having the contact with the B coil also. So while you are changing the magnitude of the current flowing through the A coil means the flux linking with the B coil is also getting changed. Because of the flux change here, there will be the induced EMF that is called as a self-induced EMF. Then here you are seeing means because of the change in the first coil, there will be an induced EMF in the B coil also. This is called as a mutually induced EMF. Why it is called as a mutually induced EMF is, this induced EMF is due to the change in the first coil, not in the current flowing through the B coil. So by the time it is called as a mutually induced EMF. So mutually induced EMF means what? The induced EMF is present in the coil. Cause for that induced EMF is not depend in the cause for the induced EMF in the B coil depend on the first coil. There will not be any current flow in the B coil. When the switch K is closed from the open position, there will be induced voltage and hence current in coil B as indicated by the galvanometer G. When the key is opened from the closed position, the current flow will be in the opposite direction. This illustrates the production of static induced EMF. And dynamically induced EMF. Here, which one is varying? Conductor is stationary. Flux is varying. Here, in the constant magnetic flux, it is between the two magnets. This is constant. So we are changing the conductor in the different places. We are changing the position of the conductor AB in the different place. So AB is moving in a constant magnetic field. So conductor is moving. So that is the reason it is called as a dynamic induced EMF. The static and dynamic, that word, are representing the conductor position. Here the conductor position is what? Conductor position is stationary. Flux is varying by changing the current flow in this coil. Here flux is stationary, conductor is varying in a constant magnetic field. By the time also there will be the deflection. While the conductor is moving from one place to another place, there will be the deflection in the galvanometer. There will be the deflection in the galvanometer. So that means what? There is a moment in the galvanometer means there is an induced EMF in the coil A, in the conductor AB. When the conductor AB is moved from the top position in the downward direction, it cuts the magnetic field at a right angle. An EMF is induced in the conductor, resulting current flows as indicated by the galvanometer. When the conductor is moved from the bottom in the upward direction, there will be a current flow in the opposite direction. So from that we conclude the two laws for the Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction. The results of above two experiments can be summed up into two laws known as Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction. First law, what is first law? There are two laws in the Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction. So the two laws are obtained from the experiments obtained from the two experiments. First law is what? Whenever the flux linking with a coil changes, a static EMF is induced in it, and as such, the EMF lasts only for the time the change is taking place. Or else, when a moving conductor cuts the magnetic field, an EMF induced in it, which is called as dynamic EMF. Second law is what? The magnitude of the induced EMF is equal to rate of change of flux linkage. So remaining things we will see in the next class. So all of you wait for attendance.
Okay, ma'am.
All of you wait for attendance.
T1 52%. Ma'am.
Yes, 51.
Present.
51.
Present.
52. 52.
He is
52
present in the
absent.
class.
Ma'am, present.
52.
53 present, ma'am.
Ma'am, 2%.
52 I am talking
Ma'am,
about 52.
present. 2%.
Okay, 53.
Present, ma'am.
54. 54. 54. 54 absent. 55.
Present.
56. 56. 56. 56 absent. 57.
Present, ma'am.
58.
Present.
59.
Present, ma'am.
60.
Present, ma'am.
61.
Present, ma'am.
62.
Present, ma'am. 54 present, ma'am.
63.
Present, ma'am.
Ma'am, 54 present.
64.
Present, ma'am.
65.
Ma'am, 54 present.
65. 65 absent. 66.
Present, ma'am.
68.
Present, ma'am.
69.
Ma'am. Ma'am.
70.
Present, ma'am.
71.
Present, ma'am.
72.
Present, ma'am.
73.
Present, ma'am.
74.
Present, ma'am.
75.
75 present, ma'am.
76. 76. 76 absent. 77.
Present, ma'am.
78.
Present, ma'am.
79.
Present, ma'am. Present, ma'am.
80.
Present, ma'am.
81.
Ma'am, 54 present, ma'am.
81. 81. 81 absent.
Ma'am,
83.
Present, ma'am.
83.
83 present.
84. 84.
Present, ma'am.
85.
Present, ma'am.
86.
87 present, ma'am. 86 is not there.
Okay. 87%.
Ma'am, 54 present.
You missed the attendance mails. Wait until I complete the attendance. In between, you could not discuss.
Chat box, ma'am. 63 and 54.
88.